Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ayan Rafiq and I am a foundation level student at Rehan School Islamabad Barapur campus. Today I am going to conduct an AI session with Maya. In this session I will ask few questions and Maya will provide answers. So let's start. Hey Maya.
Hey, ready when you are. What are we
Um,
diving into first?
Maya, my first question is what is software?
Right, let's go for it. Software is essentially the set of invisible instructions that tell your hardware what to do. Think of hardware like the physical body of a computer, the screen, the chips, the keys, while software is the mind, the intelligence, and the actual directions that make all those parts work together. What turns a silent slab of silicon and plastic into a tool that can calculate taxes, play a game, or stream this call. At its most basic level, software is just code written by humans in a language the computer can eventually translate into ones and zeros. We generally split it into two big buckets. First, there's system software, like your operating system, which manages the machine itself and makes sure everything is talking to each other. And there's application software, the tools you actually use to get things done, like a web browser, a word processor, or social media app. Without software, your laptop would just be a very expensive paperweight. What part of that interests you the most?
Okay, Maya, my next question is what is the difference between software and hardware?
Basically, hardware is the body and software is the mind. You can touch hardware, but you can only execute software. It's the difference between the physical piano and the sheet music. The piano is there, it's heavy, it has strings and keys. But without the music, it's just a piece of furniture. The music is the set of instructions that tells the pianist exactly which keys to hit and when to hit them. Hardware is the physical stuff, the silicon, the metal, the screen, and the battery. Software is the invisible layer of logic that tells that hardware what to do. If you drop your phone, the hardware is what cracks. If your app freezes, that's the software glitching. Hardware provides the power and the structure, but software provides the purpose. How does that landing feel?
Okay, my next
I'm
question
with
is
you. What's on the next slide?
what are the main type of software?
The two main categories are system software and application software. System software acts like the air traffic controller for your device, ensuring the hardware runs smoothly and everything is talking to each other. It's what handles the basic behind the scenes work like managing your battery, memory, and security, so you don't have to think about it. The prime example is your operating system like Windows, Mac OS, or Android. On the other side, you have application software. These are the actual tools designed for a specific purpose, whether you're editing a video, browsing the web, or using a banking app, you're interacting with application software. One manages the house, and the other is the furniture you actually use to live in it. Which one of those should we break down first?
Okay, my next question is what is system software?
System software is basically the air traffic controller for your device. It's the foundation that makes everything else possible. While you might not interact with it directly as often as your apps, it's working in the applications you're actually using. The most obvious example is the operating system like Windows, Mac OS, or Android. Making sure two apps don't try to use the same piece of RAM at the same time, and it manages your CPU, you have device drivers, which are like the translate dialect of every single printer on the planet, a big piece of hardware. You also have utility software, disk defragmenters, or antivirus programs. Basically, if application software is the what of your computer, system software is the how. Without it, your hardware would just be a collection of parts with no way to communicate, and your apps would have nowhere to live.
My next question is, what is application software?
Ready to flip the
My-
slide?
Continue. My question is, what is application software? My next question is, what is application software?
Right, moving into the application software. Think of this as the tools you actually pick up to get things done. Unlike system processor, a web browser, or a game, application and to general purpose apps like Excel that people use for a million different things. And then you have specialized ones like medical imaging software, or just translating your human desires into instructions. Like examples next, or maybe look at how they actually get installed on your machine.
Okay, my next question is, what is programming?
Programming is basically just writing a very, very detailed to-do list for a computer. At its core, it's the act of taking a complex idea and breaking it down into a series of logical steps that a machine can actually follow. Computers are incredibly fast, but they're also kind of dim. They won't assume anything. If you miss one tiny step or misplace a single semicolon, the computer doesn't just figure it out, it just stops. That's why programming is as much about problem solving and logic as it is about learning a specific language. You're essentially translating a human goal, like I want to send a message or I want this character to jump when I hit a button, into precise set of instructions. It's like being a translator between human intuition and machine execution. What part of that sticks out to you?
Okay, my next question is, what is coding?
So, I know I called programming a to-do list, and coding is basically the handwriting. If programming is the big picture, the blueprint, the architecture, then coding is the act of actually typing those lines of text in a language the computer understands. It's the most tactile part of the process where you're wrestling with the actual syntax to make sure the logic in your head actually as shows up on the screen.
Okay, my next question is, what is ChatGPT?
The activity? Could you help me out and clarify what you mean by the activity in this context?
My
I'm a
question
little
is,
lost on.
what is
Yeah?
ChatGPT?
ChatGPT is essentially a superpowered autocomplete. It's a large language model created by OpenAI that's been trained on a massive chunk of the internet to predict the next word in a sequence. That's how it manages to sound so human. But behind the curtain, it's not actually thinking or knowing things the way we do. It's just incredibly good at spotting patterns in how people communicate. It can write code, compose poems, or explain quantum physics, but it's basically just the world's best pattern matcher. What have you heard about it?
Okay, my next question is, what is a database?
Think of a database as the digital equivalent of a meticulously organized filing cabinet. While a simple text file is like a scrap piece of paper with a note on it, a database is designed to store, retrieve, and manage vast amounts of information in a way that's actually searchable. It's how a streaming service remembers every single movie you've ever watched, or how a bank keeps track of exactly how many cents are in your account. Most of the time, these databases use something called SQL, which is basically a specialized language used to ask the database very specific questions like, find me every customer who spent over $50 in March. It's the backbone that allows apps to be dynamic instead of just showing the same static page to everyone. Ready for the next one?
Next question is, what is API?
An API is basically a digital waiter. You're at a restaurant, you don't go into the kitchen and start cooking your own meal. You give your order to the waiter tells the kitchen what to do, and then the waiter brings the food back to your table. The API is that waiter. It's the application programming interface that lets two different pieces of software talk to each other without needing to know how the other one actually works. When you use a travel site to compare flights from 5 different airlines, that site is using APIs to ask each airline's database for the latest prices and then bringing that info back to you. It allows developers to plug in powerful features they didn't have to build from scratch, like adding Google Maps to a food delivery app. It's essentially the universal handshake of the internet. How's that for a deep dive?
Okay, my next question is, what is a software bug?
A software hub is basically the central station for everything in a developer's workflow. Um, Depending on who you're talking to, they might mean a few different things. Most of the time, it refers to a central repository or platform where software, tools, and libraries are stored and managed, like GitHub. It's where developers go to collaborate, version their code, and share updates. In other contexts, it can be a specialized environment where various software services are integrated so they can all talk to each other in one place. It's the difference between having your tools scattered in different drawers and having one organized workbench. Since we've been moving through a list, are you building a script or studying for something specific?
Okay, my next question is, what is dubbing?
Dubbing is when you replace the original voice track of a video with a new one, usually in a different language. It's a huge part of making global content accessible, but it's a real art form. You don't just translate the words, you have to match the emotion and the timing of the original actor's lips. When it's done poorly, it feels completely disjointed. But when it's done right, you forget the original language was even there. We've jumped from software to cinema. I'm curious what's next on the list.
Okay, my next question is, what is Git?
Git is basically a high-tech time machine for your code. It's a version control system, which is just a fancy way of saying it keeps a detailed record of every single change you make to a project. Instead of having 20 different folders named Project Finding and Project Final V to actual final, Git lets you save snapshots of your work. If you realize you accidentally broke everything 3 hours ago, you can just rewind the clock and jump back to a version that actually worked. It also makes collaborating a breeze because multiple people can work on different parts of the same project at once, then merge their changes together without stepping on each other's toes. Does that make sense, or should we dig into how a commit actually works?
Okay.
We'll hold the floor.
Okay, my next
Well,
question is,
what's next?
why is software testing important?
Hmm. Because launching software without testing is basically just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. Software testing is the only thing standing between a smooth user experience and a total disaster. Imagine a bank app that accidentally deletes your balance or a medical system that swaps patient records. Those aren't just bugs, those are catastrophes. It's not just about finding crashes either. It's about checking for things like security holes where hackers could sneak in, or UX issues that make that app so frustrating you want to throw your phone across the room. By the time software reaches you, it's usually gone through a gauntlet of different tests, from the developer just checking their own code, to automated scripts that try to break the system, to actual people trying to use it like, a normal human being. It's the essential safety net that ensures the finished product actually works in the wild. Ready for the next slide?
Okay, my next question is, what is GitHub used for?
Think of GitHub as the social network for developers. We already touched on Git, which is the actual tool that tracks the history of the code, but GitHub is the cloud-based home where that code lives. It's where developers host their projects so others can see them, contribute to them, and collaborate in real time without having to email files back and forth. For a lot of programmers, a GitHub profile is basically their professional portfolio. It proves you can actually build things and work well with a team. It also hosts a massive amount of open source software, which means anyone can peek under the hood of a project, suggest a fix, or build something entirely new on top of it.
Okay, my next question is, what is cybercrime?
Wait, are you taking a detour from the list? What's on your mind?
My next question is, what is cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity is the digital equivalent of a high-tech fortress. It's the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data from digital attacks. Think of it as a multi-layered defense strategy. You've got your firewall, which acts like a security guard at the gate, encryption, which scrambles your data so only the right people can read it, and multi-factor authentication, which is like having two different keys to get into a vault. At its core, cybersecurity is a constant game of cat and mouse between the people building the walls and the hackers trying to find a single loose brick to crawl through. What else is on the list?
Okay, my next question is, why do software application need updates?
Updates are basically the digital equivalent of a tune-up. You're essentially patching holes and adding new features. Most of the time, it's about security. Hackers are always finding new ways to break in. So updates are like changing the locks on your doors to keep them out. And then you've got bug fixes for those annoying glitches that the developers missed, and performance tweaks to make things feel snappier. It's never-ending cycle of polishing and patching. What's the next one?
Okay, my next question is, what is UI?
UI stands for user interface, and it's basically everything you actually see and touch when you interact with a device. It's the bridge between the messy code running in the background and the human being trying to use the app. Whether it's the curve of a button, the color of a menu, or the way a window slides open, the UI is what turns a piece of software into a visual experience. If the code is the engine of a car, the UI is the steering wheel, the pedals, and the dashboard. If those are poorly designed, it doesn't matter how fast the engine is, you're still going to have a hard time driving the thing. What else have you got?
Okay, my next question is, what is UX?
UX, or user experience, is the entire feeling you get when you use a product. While the UI is the button you're looking at, the UX is whether that button actually makes sense to click. It's the difference between an app that feels intuitive and one that makes you want to throw your phone across the room. Good UX means the developer anticipated your needs before you even had them, making the whole experience smooth and frictionless. What's next on the slides?
So viewers, this is the session for Maya. Today we will meet you in another Maya session. तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज, पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद.